I'm
I
sure.
want to circle all the way back around to that bail hearing, because that had to be one of those moments where you're like just on the cusp of victory, and victory is snatched away, and you fall into the jaws of defeat because you were in minimum security, which wasn't fun, but not the worst scenario ever.
I was in
And
medium.
oh, medium. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then because of the way that bail hearing went down, and them doubling your bail essentially, because you went over a $1 million bail, you're automatically upgraded to maximum security, and that's when you got sent to the Roach Motel.
Yeah, and I've been in Towers jail for a year. I know all the slang. I know the prison walk. So the next day when I woke up
The prison
in max
walk?
security, I've got to go to the white table now, the woods, and they're going to determine now whether they're going to accept me or they're going to smash me. This is max security. They're nearly all in there for murder. There was a few crystal meth chemists. So I walk up to the table, doing the prison walk with all the slang. Like, what up,
Hey,
Wood?
gang.
What up, Wood? Where did you roll in from, Wood?
Ahoy, hoy.
Towers jail. They made my bail bond over $1 million, so I got reclassed to max. They're like, what are you in for, Wood? Ecstasy. So they're asking me all these questions, and I'm thinking, I'm fitting in with these guys. They're going to accept me. Then I go back to my room. And hours later, the head of the gang, he comes down with all of his legal paperwork, and he says, I want you to read this for me and tell you if this plea bargain they're offering me is reasonable. So they saw through my act and saw I was an educated person, and I was a resource to them.
That's really funny.
They could tell I knew how to read, so now I'm the professor.
British guy.
A third of the prisoners could not read or write. In max security, I set up a class for the Mexicans, teaching them how to write home in Spanish, because a lot of them worked out in the countryside and they couldn't read and write. Then the Aryan Brotherhood put a green light to have me smashed for helping another race. I had an independent tough guy who was my cellmate at the time, Joe, and he intervened with the gang, and they allowed me to keep helping the Mexicans.
Sean, can you move your mic closer?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That sounds so.
That's awful.
That sounds fucking horrible. But something I want to . So you got there, the Aryans approach you in your cell, and then kind of how does that relationship go from there? Like you said, there's no turning them down. You have to kind of play the game. Were there ever times where it was like, hey, you just earned your first swastika tattoo, come on in, and you're like, no, actually, can I just get they also used an eagle. Let's do a real generic eagle. Can you make it look like the Philadelphia Eagles?
I saw one skinhead. He had a tattoo of Hitler on his chest.
No subtlety.
Zeke Heiling over a gas chamber with Jewish people dying inside the gas chamber. Yeah. Now here's what helped me out.
Intricate.
Here's what helped me out.
Hey, Sean, can you move your mic a lot closer?
Yeah. Is it going to go over the screen now? Is that okay?
Oh,
Oh,
so much
over
better.
face.
My God. Yeah.
Yeah.
A fist
All right,
is a
so-
good. Yeah.
Over 100 people arrested with me, including some of my bouncers from the raves I was throwing, including my best friend from my hometown, who is a massive guy. He co-interviews people with me on my YouTube channel called Wildman. He's like the UK Joey Diaz.
Oh, I've seen that guy. Yes. He is the UK Joey Diaz.
His fists are twice the size of mine, and they're just all human teeth marks all over them. He's a good guy to get arrested with. So once the AB guys in Towers Jail found out I was with Wildman and that we were one of the biggest crews in the jail, we had a coexistence with them, and none of our clique got smashed.
Jesus Christ.
In that first year, that was when we were all together.
I think
What was your relation to the guy with the Hitler tattoo? Was he just like, oh no, that's Alan? I think there's some other guy who's like, even Alan goes a little far for us. I mean, Hitler chose a perfectly fine signet for us to use, and he goes for the whole portrait thing. None of us are on board with that. Don't think we're all like.
Let's put it this way: when the head of the Whites got moved out of our building, and there was a white boy meeting, and we had to vote on the new head of the whites. I didn't vote for that skinhead. I vote for Marco, who was out of the Italian Mafia. The Italian Mafia took over from the Aryan Brotherhood in that pod, and it was the best we ever had it. Like, these guys were running the show. Outside the jail at night, when we were all locked down, when we were all supposed to be asleep, Marco was outside the jail with the guards, smoking and giving them orders. Whenever we got raided, he would find out in advance, and anything the guards took, all our bedding and everything, would get all fresh stuff from other guards, would bring it right back to us. He had a legal visit from his girlfriend. In legal visits, the guards can't watch, so his girlfriend would come in as a legal visitor and give him blowjobs in the legal visitation room. Nice. And there was like the least violence ever under Marco's rule. I wrote a whole chapter about it in Hard Time, and it was the best of the time in Towers Jail was when the Italian Mafia were running the show. But the good times never last. the
like meshing between the Italians and the Aryans, what was that like? An alliance because they're both white, or like their own interests? Like, I'm sure they had their own drug interests and stuff, right?
There was an uneasy coexistence that culminated into a full-scale semi-riot at one point, and which ended up with us all getting moved. So the Italians, you know, when people have got it good like that and they're running things, other people get jealous because people have got nothing in prison. Mm-hmm. So the Woods were getting jealous of, you know, how smoothly they were running things and all the perks they were getting. And they were always scheming, and they always had the greater numbers. We had more numbers temporarily, but in the end, Marco got moved. He got sentenced. His next in line took over. He was a Golden Gloves boxer, and he had a lot of fights in a row, and he always won. And then he fought a Rule 11 inmate called Buster Beats. Now, that means a mentally ill person, Rule 11. There was this foul meal that nobody would eat called Red Death, and this guy would just put it in plastic bags and eat it all day long. And he was my cellmate briefly as well. He like took the legs off crickets and mosquitoes and beat them with little rolled up pieces of toilet paper.
I didn't know where I was going. And there was some sort of a Pickle Rick type scenario, but he would just pull the legs off until it's a torso, and then he would beat them with a rolled up.
Yeah, and say, "Good mosquito, you're not going to leave me now." Things like this.
Oh shit!
He had this rap called "Dead Body Hose" about having sex with the corpses of Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and all this stuff, and the prisoners would always make him do it. But anyway, the Golden Gloves boxer, Nick, he ended up in a fight with Buster Beats. Buster Beats, these Rule 11 guys, they've got this crazy strength. And Buster Beats, he kept like, Marco, the Golden Gloves guy, Nick, just kept beating the shit out of Buster Beats. And he'd say, like, I give up. He'd go to leave the cell. Buster Beats would like jump back up, bounce off the wall like Spider-Man, jump on Nick's back. And this went on for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and Nick's like just punch. He's got him up against the wall, just punch. I think he's gonna kill this guy. And Nick, his hand, he broke his knuckle. His hand swelled up like the size of a grapefruit. Pieces of teeth of both of them had come off. And after that, Nick said, "Look, I'm sick of being the head of the whites." He was sick of fighting all the time.
And he was disillusioned from being the retarded man. He was like, I don't even know what this is all about anymore.
The sad thing was, my people on the outside and Nick's people on the outside, we were trying to help him. We were trying to locate his step parents to try and get him some assistance. So,
oh yeah, they want him back.
He starts a different gang, and he's like, "I know you're not a chomo, but are you a chromo?" And then they start gathering up his own Rule 11 gang. So I assume that Buster was not invited to any of the gangs. They're like, "I know you're white, Buster, but you can't."
No, he was Chicano. He was Chicano.
Oh, Chicano. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that sounds kind of funny, doesn't it?